Wrong song. We're not going there.
Well, this is talk.
There's the song we're going to.
Pay attention to your pain. Reach out and find your comfort. Take a walk and play some music. Make the time to start the healing. Let the healing begin. Let the healing begin. Look to the sky and breathe it in. Look to the sky and breathe it in. Feel the sunshine on your skin. Feel the sunshine on your skin. And let your life resume again. And let your life resume again. Pay attention to your pain. Reach out and find your comfort. Take a walk and play some music. Make the time to start the healing. Let the healing begin. Let the healing begin. Look to the sky and breathe it in. Look to the sky and breathe it in. Feel the sunshine on your skin. Feel the sunshine on your skin. And let your life resume again. And let your life resume again. Pay attention to your pain. Reach out and find your comfort. Take a walk and play some music. Make the time to start the healing. Let the healing begin. Let the healing begin. Look to the sky and breathe it in. Look to the sky and breathe it in. Feel the sunshine on your skin. Feel the sunshine on your skin. And let your life resume again. And let your life resume again. For this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for my friends, Spirit, thank you for my friends. Thank you for my friends, Spirit, thank you for my friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. Thank you for my health, Spirit, thank you for my health. Thank you for my health, Spirit, thank you for my health. My radiant, my radiant, my radiant health. My radiant, my radiant, my radiant health. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day.
Thank you for this day, Spirit.
Thank you for this day. Thank you for joining us here on our live Zoom Sunday service, the Sunday service of Unity Spiritual Center of San Francisco, which is also streaming live on Facebook right now. I'm so glad that you found us as we are discovering new ways of staying in touch and also meeting new friends. It's wonderful to see your faces, and I want you to know that I am keeping each of you in my prayers. And if you're new to our community, I look forward to the time when I'll be able to meet you in person, when we can do so safely. And I know that time will happen perhaps sooner than we know. One thing to note before we get started, and that is that as you come on, we are putting you on mute during our service, so you don't have to worry about any background noise. And what that means is that for the responsive readings and the songs, no one will be able to hear your voice, but we encourage you nonetheless to uh, respond in the privacy of your own home. There are two exceptions to that, and one is when I ask for a volunteer to read today's daily word. If you don't have today's daily word handy and you'd like to read it, you could use this time to go onto dailyword.org and look it up. They always have that day's current reading online, and I'll be asking for a volunteer for that in a few minutes. We also have a time in our prayer service where we invite you to share a prayer request aloud if you would like to do that. And at that time, I'll be asking for anyone who'd like to speak their prayer to their community here. And if you'd like to do that, just wave your hand or put something in the chat box and we will call on you. We'll be able to see that. But for now, just lean back against your chair, your couch, your headboard, wherever you are, as we go within our inner sanctuary, where we are always safe, guided, and at peace. And I invite you just to let go of any worries or concerns and connect your hearts with the hearts of our virtual community and with the God of your understanding. Here at Unity Spiritual Center, we celebrate the truth that our God is love, as expressed in Unity's foundation statement, which you're invited to repeat with me at home. There is only one presence and one power, active as the universe and as my life, God the good, omnipotent. So again, just take a deep breath, become comfortable, and gently release any cares of the day. Because the only thing that you need to do in this hour is to open yourself up to the love and goodness of the divine as you relax into this sacred time at Unity Spiritual Center. For almost 75 years now, we at Unity Spiritual Center have celebrated and honored people of every culture, of every creed, of every religion, of every race, of every age, and every lifestyle, knowing that there are many paths to God, many faces of God, many names for God, but only one God. Seeing through eyes of oneness and acknowledging our oneness, we know that God indwells all people and is expressed through each of us in unique, special, and individual ways. Unity offers positive, practical, progressive spiritual teachings and tools that honor the universal truth in all religions and respects each individual's right to choose a spiritual path. I'm going to light our worship candle now. I got a new one since we burned through the old one. This one is clear, so you'll be able to see the flame a little bit better. So as you see that flame, which we hold up to you every Sunday, we do it for the reason that when you see it, perhaps you can better imagine that divine spark in you, that divine flame in you, that you are an individualized expression of the divine, and that God does God's work in the world through the movements of your heart and your hands. Our vision here at Unity Spiritual Center, and the opportunity for you and for each one of us here, is that you discover the power within you to create the life of your dreams, that you have peace of mind and deep happiness, that you enjoy joyous and loving relationships with yourself, with spirit, and with others, that you spend your days doing what you love and feel called to do, and most of all, that you know that your life matters, that you make a difference, and that the world is a better place because you're here. So let's pause now to listen to a musical selection sung by USC's music director extraordinaire, Michael Hatfield.
And for all of you that have been with us for many years, you'll recognize this tune. And please feel free to sing along. Here we go.
In this moment, I am in the presence of God. In this moment, I am in the presence of love. In this moment, I am in the presence of peace. And so it is, and all is well. In this moment, I am in the presence of God. In this moment, I am in the presence of love. In this moment, I am in the presence of peace. And so it is, and all is well. In this moment, I am in the presence of God. In this moment, I am presence of love. In this moment, I am in the presence of peace. And so it is, and all is well. And so it is, and all is well.
Michael, that was beautiful. And if you'd like to express your appreciation to Michael, feel free to use the reaction buttons or to place your hands in front of your webcam so he can see your appreciation. So now, as we continue to get comfortable and relax even more deeply into this time of worship, prayer, and meditation, let us open our hearts to receive the message of today's daily word. Do I have any volunteers? I see Ruben's hand up. Ruben, if you can unmute yourself, we'd love to hear the daily word. Go ahead.
Guidance. I am divinely guided. Guidance can be easy to find in the outer world. Maps and GPS technology can help me navigate my way just about anywhere. Everywhere I go, there are signs marking streets, adorning storefronts, and providing just about every kind of information and opinion imaginable. Spiritual guidance often is not as evident, but it is much more valuable. This guidance can come to me as a persistent tug on my attention, a gut feeling or intuition, or even a dream as I sleep. I pay attention to the guidance I receive and step out in faith to move my steps in its direction. I know that the spirit of wisdom and love within me are always guiding me to the blessings of greater peace, love, and prosperity. From Psalms 25:4, make me to know your ways, O Lord. Teach me your paths.
Thank you so much, Ruben, for that. Unity Spiritual Center is a center of prayer and healing. During this time of shelter in place, I want you to know that you are always welcome to call in and leave a message. The phone number is 415-566-4122. Again, 415-566-4122. Or to send in or email in a prayer request. And let's just take a moment to hold the prayer requests of our community in our hearts, perhaps not knowing who they're from or what the circumstances are, but knowing that a member of our family is requesting prayer. And so let's hold them and the people they may be asking for prayer for in our hearts. And let's know for each one of them that no matter what the circumstances may be, they are enfolded in divine love, and that divine order is taking place in each of their lives. And now is the time to make our prayers audible, to share your prayer needs with your spiritual family here if you'd like to, so that we can support you and stand with you. So again, if you have a particular prayer request, just place it in the chat or wave to the webcam if you'd like us to call on you. And after we sing the introduction to this song, which Michael is about to lead us through, we will answer each prayer request by singing "Your Prayer is My Prayer Too."
We are connected by the heart. Where do you end? Where do I start? Whatever you feel, I feel too. You're a part of me, I'm a part of you. Your prayer is my prayer too. Your prayer is my prayer too.
So I see in the chat a prayer from Luke for Bonnie Bartlett, someone who attended our church probably a decade and more ago, and she recently made her transition. So let's hold Bonnie in our prayers as she goes on to her next spiritual adventure.
Your prayer is my prayer too.
And a prayer from Kathleen for her friend Virginia, and to Kathleen's cousin, whose son and 4-year-old granddaughter have tested positive to the virus. So we will hold all of them in our prayers. Happy, and we know that the abundant, infinite life and health of God is expressing for your cousin's son and 4-year-old granddaughter right now.
Your prayer is my prayer too.
Boy
I
is asking for peace
pray
to
for my cousin Cleon, who took a fall. She's a vital caregiver and had a injury to her arm. I pray for quick healing so that she may continue the good work that God has sent her here for. Thank you.
Your prayer is my prayer too.
And we have a prayer from Joy, a prayer for peace to rest in the minds, hearts, and bodies of everyone, especially those who are suffering.
Your prayer is my prayer too.
And a prayer from IKEA, a prayer for Amy, whose father in Texas made his transition after suffering from COVID.
Your prayer is my prayer too.
And Valerie, I see you if you want to unmute yourself.
I'd like a prayer to help us make our decision on whether we should travel to Salt Lake to see our children.
Your prayer is actually my prayer too.
Anyone else? Judy, if you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, I'd like to pray that as we try to heal as a country from our racial divisions and suffering, that we all have the grace of God and the power and strength we need to go forward in a positive way.
Your prayer is my prayer too.
Prayer from Marcy. Prayers as Lynn closes on the sale of her home and moves out of the Pacific Northwest. She is placing her belongings in storage as her employer decides if San Diego should be her home base versus Seattle. We hope someday it will be the Bay Area, but in the meantime, we are sending our prayers through this transition, and sending them to Lynn and Marcy.
Your prayer is my prayer too.
And anyone else, just raise your hand. And we also have a time in our service where we express our gratitude for our blessings, things that we are thankful for. This is our time to express those feelings right now, and I will get started by expressing my gratitude for my daughter, who was born 17 years ago today. She's quite an amazing person, and I'm very thankful for the real pleasure and privilege of being her mother. And Shirley, if you can unmute yourself, Shirley. Actually, I gotcha.
I thank you. I'd like to offer my thankfulness for a member of my grandfather's family that found us on Ancestry.com, and my sister and I are having a conference call with that individual in hopes that we will be able to trace a little bit further back in our ancestry line. So we'll have a call this afternoon. I'm just so blessed.
Anyone else? Josephine.
I'm grateful for my children and their creativity. They've been able to pass their time this week taking a bunch of cardboard boxes and making good fun out of them.
It's kind of like cats, right? It doesn't matter what you buy them, it's always the cardboard box that's the best.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
We give thanks for this opportunity to bless and to be blessed in spirit. We give thanks for the knowledge that when we ask, it will be given to us. When we seek, we will find. When we knock, the door will be open to us. We give thanks for the feelings of peace and comfort and connection that we can feel even in this virtual circle. And we give thanks for the privilege of praying for others in our community, in our nation, and around the world. And we affirm that always and in all ways, no matter what circumstances may be, divine love and divine order is everywhere present. And so it is. Amen.
Many days lie awake, thinking of my future. Many nights asleep, dreaming of my past. I go on, how can I continue? What should I expect before this life is gone? And then I find my faith, and I am resurrected. And when I find my faith, what is lost is found. I hang on to my faith, I become directed. So glad that my faith keeps on coming around. There's been days when I am sure I'm not gonna make it. There's been days when I believe I can't afford the cost. If I close my eyes, I can see the beauty. Open up my heart, look into the skies, and then I find my faith, and I am resurrected. And when I find my faith, what is lost is found. I hang on to my faith, and I become directed. And so glad that my faith, it keeps on coming around. I believe I'm standing firmly on the ground. I believe I'm where I need to be. If you don't mind knowing what God has to show you, the simple thing that keeps it going on. And then I find my faith, and I'm resurrected. When I find my faith, what is lost is found. I hang on to my faith and I become directed. I'm so glad that my faith, it keeps on coming around. And then I find my faith and I am resurrected. And when I find my faith, what is lost is found. Hang on to my faith, I become directed. I'm so glad that my faith keeps on coming around. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much, Michael. Beautiful song, and it's Kira's new favorite. We heard that on the chat. And I am very happy to introduce our speaker for today, or he really needs no introduction, but I'll do it anyway. He is our wonderful center manager and assistant minister. He also is an extraordinaire, and you know he's speaking because he's got his bow tie on. So with no further ado, Reverend Gerry Brague.
Thank you. Someday I'm going to wear the bow tie and not speak and just throw everybody off.
Totally throw us.
Now, when I told Reverend Maggie the topic I was speaking on today, where is God, she responded with something along the lines of, well, that's a big topic. And it's true. Asking where God is in any particular situation is a really big topic, bigger than most things that I've attempted to speak about here. But it's an important one, I think. Asking where God is in any situation is an important question for any person of faith. It's even more important when you take into consideration all the suffering and pain that's happening these days. Now, that question has probably been asked a lot lately. People have been questioning God's presence since the earliest of times. The book of Job in the Hebrew Bible is an extended discourse on where God is, especially in the midst of suffering. This book, Job, is really a long discussion about prayer, how we communicate with the divine. It breaks our conceptions of what prayer is, and is born out of the suffering that Job experiences in the loss of his family, his livelihood, his health, just about everything. And indeed, there has been a lot of suffering around us as of late. Not only are we in the midst of this pandemic that is extremely contagious and also deadly, but our nation has been rocked by the recognition finally of the racism that undergirds our culture and all that has gone with it. People are gasping for breath with lungs hardened by a virus that won't let up. COVID-19 has been at the forefront of our thoughts for several months now, and doesn't seem to be easing up. Many of us know someone who has had the disease. I suppose also that those of us who haven't been tested or diagnosed have probably wondered at some point or other if we are asymptomatic carriers of the disease, of the virus. Fear of the virus is everywhere, it seems, and the suffering we're feeling is real. Likewise, we have seen the effects of a nation built on racism, as we've talked about here before. Many are waking up to the suffering of our black brothers and sisters in a society that devalues people because of race and skin color. From when the first slaves were brought to these shores in 1619 to the present day, there has been true suffering not only among African Americans, but of anyone who doesn't fit a standard white norm. And I would say anyone who doesn't fit the standard white, middle class, upper class norms. Our suffering is real and has surfaced in an unmistakable way, like a whale breaching the surface of the ocean. we are aware of the suffering all around us. What do we do with that suffering? Where is God? There's that question. Where is God in the midst of it? How do we maintain our faith when we feel God is distant and uninvolved? How do we pray in this time? When I was in high school, yes, I remember that long ago. When I was in high school, Barb Lynch, one of my closest friends, and I were talking one day. I forget exactly what the topic of our conversation was, but I remember her saying at one point that when she's upset, she yells at God because God can take it. This was a revelation to my 12th grade faith. I had never considered that one could express anything but respect and subservience to God. God was distant and only cared when God wanted to. Without knowing it, I had a Sistine Chapel God, one who distantly and lackadaisically reaches out to humanity. I've also learned since those years to avoid referring to and thinking of God in the masculine. No more white guy with a beard up in heaven. Things and people can change. I think, though, that this form of prayer is important to remember in this time of our world's history. My friend Barb had it right. We can yell at God and express the depths of the suffering that is all around us. God can take it. Because the answer to my question for today's lesson is that God is there in the midst of the suffering. God is in the labored breaths of the COVID patient. God is with protesters saying enough is enough. God is within the souls of each person as they suffer through their anger and hurt and grief. God is yelling and crying and expressing anger along with us during these times. God doesn't hide from the hard stuff like we might try to do. God faces the suffering and the difficulty of the world and gathers us in at the same time. God takes us and moves us to be part of the suffering ourselves and to act upon it. In the midst of suffering and pain, we are truly agents of God to bring about healing and comfort. During our 3 times a week meditation at noon here at Unity Spiritual Center on Zoom, we end with a form of the prayer of protection. And the last line goes like this. It sounds familiar, I'm sure. Wherever we are, God is. I am divine. Since we are divine, we too are called to be part of and in the midst of the suffering that is throughout our world. Now, it's not easy or pleasant necessarily. It may not be something we want to do. But since God is in us and we are in God, it is unavoidable if we are to really live out our faith. If we are going to be the people we claim we are by declaring that we are indeed divine, part of that is to be a part of the suffering and pain of the world. That's where God is. God is in us, responding and acting in the midst of the pain of the world. We carry God forth to bring the healing and comfort that those who are angry or in pain or grieving are so in need of. One way we can do that is, of course, through prayer. Regular, thought-filled prayer that reaches out beyond ourselves and our own cares to those who need it most. Another way is through financial support of those causes that help to alleviate the suffering that is part of the lives all around us. With the spatial distancing that we are to practice these days, it's harder to be a physical part of healing and comfort. We cannot be by the bedside of a person hospitalized with COVID. Some of us were reluctant to protest due to fears about the virus. But we can do things. We can write letters to representatives. We can give of our resources. We can speak out on social media against injustice. We can call a grieving or worried friend. We can ensure that we are not spreading the virus by wearing our masks and keeping 6 feet distant. Where is God? Indeed, the question might actually be, where isn't God? For God is within and a part of each and every one of us. God is a part of those who don't even realize it or might deny or reject the concept of a God. God is everywhere and everyone. As the quote goes, God is an infinite sphere, the center of which is everywhere, the circumference nowhere. In the midst of suffering and pain, God is reaching out beyond us. But we have to follow the call to act in the midst of the suffering and pain so that God is present actively and fully through us. Wherever we are, God is. Let us act like it. So be it. Amen. And now if you'll give me a moment for some technical upgrades here, we will move to a time of meditation. Now I invite you to begin this time of meditation by closing your eyes if you feel comfortable and taking a deep breath in, filling your belly with air and expanding it as big as you can. And when you can't breathe in anymore, hold it for a moment and exhale all the air out, tightening your stomach to take the out breath all the way to the end. Take one more deep, full breath. Breathe it in. Hold it. And then let it all out. Bring your breath back to its normal rhythm now. And bring your attention onto your body. Feel your chest and stomach rise and fall with the motion of your normal breathing. Feel cool air on your nose as you breathe in, and the warm air on your nose as you breathe out. Feel your shoulder lower and relax. Feel your cheeks soften and your jaw release. Feel your arms get heavier and sink further into relaxation. Let your stomach soften and relax. Feel your legs get heavy and relax. Feel your body melt deeper into your relaxed position, whatever that is right now. Breathing out any extra tension or pain that might be lingering. As you sit here, thoughts may be popping into your mind. Maybe these thoughts look like headlines or images that you've been seeing on the news. Perhaps these thoughts look like numbers. Number of cases, the number of deaths, the number of the market impact. Maybe these thoughts are about the impact on you. How it can or is already affecting your life, your health, your business, kids, your schedule, your event, your family, your community. Maybe these thoughts are heavy with visions of all the worst case scenarios painted bright in your mind. See all these thoughts inside of your head, watching as they swirl around, creating a hurricane of worry, stress, anxiety, and fear. Feel how powerful that hurricane is. Feel the energy it has. Feel the movement, the intensity. All this energy of the hurricane is what you've been carrying around. It's impacting everything else in your life. Your focus, your sense of safety and health, your regular activities, your work, your connection with others. So look at the hurricane as it swirls loudly in front of you, and notice that you see something very important. The distinction between the facts and the emotions. The facts are standing still outside the hurricane, and the emotions, the fear, the stress, the worry, the anxiety, are what's causing the motion of the hurricane. And they are completely normal emotions to be feeling right now. So take a deep breath in this moment. Look at this hurricane of emotion outside of you. And realize that you are in charge of whether or not you allow its energy in today. You have your life to live today. And although the coronavirus is very real and deserves attention from you, this moment right now is when you get to decide whether to invite in the facts that will help you navigate your day, or whether you will invite in the chaos of the emotion of hurricanes. And no matter what you decide, it's all okay. It's a practice to control what you can and let go of what you can't. As you continue your day and recognize the emotions when they arise, the worry, the fear, the obsession with updates, simply honor them and place them into this hurricane swirling outside of you. Let it be your container to hold it all, where you get connected to the present moment, to what is actually in your life right now. The beauty of what is in your life at this moment pull you into the present moment, so you can choose what to pay attention to and what to let go of. Now I invite you to wiggle your fingers and your toes and move your arms and legs around a bit, allowing your relaxed body to awaken. Feel your body rise and fall with your breath. Breathe in gratitude for this moment, trusting that you will have everything you need to deal with the facts as they evolve. And in this space of peace, say the silent prayer of compassion, love, and healing for all those lives that have been directly impacted. Imagine that healing spreading all over the globe as you root yourself in love. And I invite you, when you are ready, to open your eyes and look around at whatever physical space you find yourself and rejoin us in this Zoom meeting. Amen.
Thank you so much, Gerry. Let's all give Gerry let's show him some love, huh? That was a lovely lesson and a lovely meditation. Thank you so much for that. Here at Unity Spiritual Center, what are we? We are an ocean of love. Here at Unity Spiritual Center, we have an inspiring vision, an exciting mission, and compelling values by which we strive to live, and I invite you and sing it along with me. Our vision is centered in God. We co-create a world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of our shared spiritual awakening. Our mission is we are a creative, joy-filled spiritual community dedicated to healing, inspiring, and transforming the lives of all people through prayer, education, and love. And our values are, we are spirit-led, generous with resources, inclusive, joyously creative, and guided by integrity. So, feeling inspired by our vision, mission, and values, and feeling enriched by what we've experienced here today and what we're about to experience as we move into our hospitality hour. Let us take time now to be a channel for enrichment through our generous tithes and love offerings. I want to thank those of you who have remembered us, and if you haven't yet sent in a tithe or love offering but have been enjoying our services online, I do hope that you will remember that our expenses continue even when we're not able to be in person. So as Michael shares another fun song, please do take out that time to write out a check to Unity Spiritual Center or donate online. Our website is www.unitysf.org, and you can make a donation online by looking to the right of our homepage. You'll see a banner, and there's a place with a live link where you can donate online. So let's take a moment now to bless our tithes and love offerings, placing them in our hands, even if it's metaphorically speaking, or next to our hearts as we say our offertory prayer. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God.
Okay, I am going to issue a disclaimer. On this tune, we're having fun with it, and we're taking it from a certain perspective, and yet at the same time, it's a very serious thing. What Gerry was saying was, God is in us and everywhere. And sometimes it can be a little bit confusing, and sometimes you have to think a moment before you go, okay, there's God in there somewhere, and we're going to find it. All right, so here we go, and enjoy, and you can all sing along on the chorus. Here we go. Well, this is a talking song. I'll sing a little bit. It'll all make sense in a minute. Well, just yesterday morning, out the corner of my eye, I swear I saw God, but he must have slipped on by. As I sat down to breakfast and I buttered up my toast, and the reflection in the toaster might have been the Holy Ghost. I saw God, he saw me, he saw my sons, my daughter, my wife and family. I was not surprised, neither was he. As a matter of fact, I'm glad he wasn't a she. Well, I've always heard that sometimes you just see what y'all want to see. Well, the rest of my day went on like that, just like a little race. I saw God driving in front of me with a smile upon his face. Right behind was God as well in a tiny roadster coupe. All of us heading off to work as if we were a group. Well, how do you honk at the Lord? Especially if he's got his Bluetooth on and yakking away. Somebody's getting their prayers answered somewhere. I saw God, he saw me, he saw my sons, my daughter, my wife and family. I was not surprised, neither was he. As a matter of fact, I'm glad he wasn't a she. I could swear his smile looked a lot like mine. He was just a little bit bald, his head had a little shine. He must have been around 5'10" and wearing Levi jeans. And I bet you're starting to get what this whole song means. I saw God, he saw me, he saw my sons, my daughter, my wife and family. I was not surprised, neither was he. As a matter of fact, I'm glad he wasn't a she. Well, I know he must have been feeling good, 'cause I felt fine myself. Everything was organized and lined up on the shelf. I thought there'd be a price to pay, and I checked out the tags. The entire world was mine to have if I supplied the bags. Well, it used to be paper or plastic, but I never remember to bring the bags I do have in. Those things. As the minutes turned into hours and all my work was done, God followed me back to my home before the setting sun. Dinner was served and the food was blessed, and a prayer was said as I went to bed. And then who would have guessed? I saw God. He saw me. He saw my sons, my daughter, my wife, and family. I was not surprised, neither was he. As a matter of fact, I'm glad he wasn't a she. Well, I only wrote that because it rhymes, and I like a good-looking God just as much as the next guy. He might as well look like me. I'm sorry.
A little slow on the uptake, but I loved it. That was awesome. Let's give Michael some love for that. That's great. Oh, thank you. So, with joy in our hearts and laughter on our lips, let us bless our offering. Spirit of the living God, bless the acts of our hands, our minds, our hearts. May everything offered here at Unity Spiritual Center be a reflection of all that is good within us. Grant us the courage to patiently listen for the stirring of your presence. Enliven our spirits with humor. Fill us with reverence for one another and gratitude for our diversity. May unity, beauty, and truth be the fruit of all we do, and so it is. Amen. So I want to thank everybody for putting this service together, including our speaker, Reverend Gerry, Marcy for another round of beautiful slides, Michael for the great music. Appreciate this team so much. I want to remind you that there is a Zoom hospitality meeting following the service, and you don't have to do anything but stay where you are. We'll take a 3-minute break in between our service and our meeting, so you can grab a cup of coffee, but just stay tuned and join us for that. As Gerry mentioned, we do have a guided meditation every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon. Again, it is the same link as you used to get here today, but we would love to see you, so please join us for that whenever you can. Our YouTube channel, again, has a wealth of inspiring material for you, including our sermons, which go back years, so there's plenty of spiritual material there, as well as Helen Nee's self-care workshop that she did for us in May, and Michael's song that will get you feeling really good about every little cell in your body. We have our Ocean of Love community group on Facebook again, which is a private group that anyone can join by request. It's a place where we try to inspire each other with memes and stories and photographs that we see on social media that lift us up. And with that, why don't we bless our children? So let's take a look and see who's here. If I see Alonzo and Santiago, I don't know if Alex is here too. I'm going to scroll real quickly. Looks like he may not have been able to join us. So let us bless Alonzo and Santiago. We love you. We bless you. We appreciate you. And we behold the presence of God in you, empowering you to do great things. Thank you, God. Thank you, Alonzo and Santiago, for being a very treasured part of our community. So let us now move into our peace song and the prayer of protection.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator
family, all are we. Let me walk with my family in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
And since Gerry mentioned the version of the prayer of protection that we've been saying at the noon meditation, I want to introduce it to you in our Sunday service. We've been saying the one that's on the screen, which is an older version, but there is an updated version and it's very easy to learn. So I will say it with you and just repeat these wonderful affirmations in the comfort of your own home. The light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is. I am divine. And so it is. Thank you, God. Thank all of you for joining us. And if you'd like to join us for our hospitality Zoom meeting, we'd love to see you. Again, we'll take a 3-minute break in between this and our meeting. So grab a cup of coffee and come back soon. See you soon.
What a day this has been. What a rare mood that I'm in. It's almost like being in love. And there's a smile on my face for the whole human race. Almost like being in love. And all the music of life seems to be like a bell that is ringing for me. And from the way that I feel when the bell starts to peal, I swear that I am falling. Feels like I'm falling, almost like being in love. That I'm in, almost like being in love. And there's a smile on my face for the whole human race. And it's almost like being in love. 'cause life seems to be like a bell that is ringing for me. And from the way that I feel when the bell starts to peal, I could swear that I was falling. I feel like I am falling, almost like being, and I feel like I'm falling, almost like being in love.
Thank you.
All right then.
A round of applause.
Thank you.
Excellent. And Michael, I know you said you did have a meeting. After all, you can stay for a while, though.
I can stay for a while, yes. So I'm going to hang out and join the club.
Great, excellent. So it looks like we've got a number of black boxes here, and a maroon one. But thanks for staying with us for the Zoom meeting. And as I said last week, I found that despite my best efforts to have a topic to talk about, people found other things that they wanted to talk about, and I am totally open to that. So this is a open forum, whatever is on your mind, or something you'd like to share from the week, or ask, or anything.
I got one that you're going to love, actually. I have to tell this one. I found this, and I've been watching this on Facebook and other places. Our plum tree in the backyard has gone bananas. It is like some supernova of plums. So Valor and I have been giving them away to whoever wants plums, and they're great. They're Santa Rosa, big, juicy red plums. And so yesterday I had this idea. I have a drummer friend that doesn't live too far, and I was talking about something else. I said, well, I'll bring you some plums.